Hey guys, it's Pastor Kim in my living room for Church at Home. So let's get right to the lesson, okay? All right. So last week we talked about lots of different things. We talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel. So this week we're talking about how Daniel gets rescued. Now, a lot of you have heard the story about Daniel, and you're probably thinking, rescued from what? No, you guys are pretty smart. You know he's rescued from the lion's den. But let's listen to the story, okay? All right, here goes. So King Darius was the new leader in Babylon. Babylon was a large kingdom, so Darius picked men to be leaders over smaller parts of Babylon. Darius decided to put Daniel in charge of all of Babylon. When the other leaders heard about this, they were jealous. All right, let's think about this. Has there ever been a time where you've been jealous because somebody has gotten something that you thought you really wanted? All right, well, that was these other leaders. They watched Daniel and waited for him to do something wrong. They wanted to catch him doing something wrong so that he could get in trouble. But Daniel, he did what was right. The leaders knew that Daniel obeyed God, so they made a plan to get Daniel in trouble for praying. They said to King Darius, "King, all of your leaders think it would be a good idea to pass a new law. For the next 30 days, no one can pray to any god or man except you. Anyone who disobeys the law should be thrown into the lion's den." King Darius agreed to pass this new law, so he made a law. Daniel knew that the law meant that he was not allowed to pray to God. But Daniel went into his house and he prayed to God 3 times a day, just like he had always done. Let's take a minute. Just like he had always done. Every time I've heard this story before, Daniel prayed in front of a window. He didn't hide it from anybody. So 3 times a day, Daniel prayed to God just like he had always done. That takes lots of guts, right? Yeah, it takes guts. All right, so here we go. The jealous leaders, they saw Daniel praying, and they told the king that they saw Daniel praying to God. So Darius ordered Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den. "May the God you serve save you," he said. See, he really liked Daniel. This really ate him up. This wasn't something he wanted to do. But when a king makes a law, even the king can't make it not a law. He's got to follow through. So Daniel had to go into the lion's den. So the king said, "May the God you serve save you." As soon as the sun came up the next morning, the king hurried to the lion's den. He cried out, "Daniel, has the God that you serve rescued you from the lions?" Daniel shouted back, "God sent his angel to shut the mouths of the lions. I am safe." The king was so happy he ordered for Daniel to be taken out of the lion's den. Daniel wasn't hurt because he had trusted in God. Do you think that was hard? I do. I think trusting in God can be really hard sometimes. I can't imagine how much it would have felt to be in a lion's den and to trust God to save you from a lion. But he did. King Darius made a new law. He wrote that everyone must respect God. King Darius wrote, "He is the living God. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions." God showed his power to rescue Daniel from the lions. But Daniel is just such a small part of a much bigger story. See, God ultimately rescued all of us from a much bigger problem. You know what I'm talking about. Sin, death, you know. And you know how he rescued us, right? Jesus, his son. So see, God rescues us in all of our problems. So you can think about this story when you're faced with hard things. Maybe it's kids at school. Maybe it's jealousy over what you did or didn't get for Christmas. Maybe it's something bigger. But if you trust in God, God can have an impact on that. He can help you with that situation. May not turn out the way you want, but it'll turn out what's best for you. All right? So there's an activity page that you can do. You can keep working on memorizing that memory verse. And if you want to do something really cool, I've got an extra challenge for anybody that wants to do something super really cool. So one of the little projects it's got in here, it's talking about writing a letter to a missionary family. We know a missionary family, don't we? Yeah, the McIntyre family. We know that, right? Okay, so it talks about how missionaries, they put themselves in the lion's den every single day. They're faced with people that don't want to maybe hear what they have to say in a country that they may not know all the ways. So if you want to do something really cool while you're off of school or while you've got a few minutes, write a letter or draw a picture to a missionary. Any people, any kiddos that come to church with a letter, I will send that to the McIntyre family. Remember, they're in Papua New Guinea. They're translating Bibles for those people that don't have Bibles in their language. So if you want to draw a picture or write them a letter, do it. I encourage you. And every single minute you're faced with lions, I encourage you to remember who's in charge of the lions. Okay? So just, let's close it up just for a minute, okay? And let's just take a breather and just pause, okay? We're just going to say a real quick prayer, and then I'm going to let you go because it's church at home, and it's time to just be cozy with your family, okay? And you know what? Share this with your parents, too. Tell them what you learned. Maybe they're in the room with you. Tell them what you thought, what you're thinking in your heart, okay? All right. So, dear Jesus, thank you so much for Church at Home. Thanks for us recording it. Thank you for everybody that's tuning in, God. I just ask you to just bless each kiddo and each family member that's watching. Encourage us and teach us something new. Teach us ways to trust you even more with the lions in our lives. Thank you so much for sending your son, Jesus, to save us from our lions. Please bless the rest of this week and bring everybody safely back to us next Sunday. In your name we ask, amen. Thanks, guys.